Fresh is good. Fresh is good.
Okay, good. Welcome everybody again to another poet interview. Today we're talking with Hiram Larew. He contributed to the first anthology of The Short of It, The Sound of Brilliance. Hiram's poems have appeared widely and have been nominated for 4 pushcards. Congratulations on that, by the way. His Poetry X Hunger initiative is bringing poets to the anti-hunger cause. On Facebook, you can find him at Hiram Larew Poet. Hiram was featured on The Short of It in August of 2020. So let's get started. I was really jazzed to learn about your philanthropy with Poetry X Hunger. Being a huge advocate myself for social issues, I felt a kinship to you immediately. So how did that start for you?
Yeah, well, I have, first off, thank you, Susie, very much for all that you're doing for poets and poetry.
Oh,
This is
you're welcome.
wonderful. Um, I have a background in agriculture. I was a government employee with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and a couple of other agencies where I worked and helped guide international farming programs. And at the same time, I was writing poetry, but I had never brought the two of my worlds, at least, together.
Uh-huh.
And so after I retired about 5 or 6 years, 5 years ago now. I decided, well, it might be kind of fun to just see what's out there in terms of poetry about hunger, not hunger of
Mm-hmm.
the heart, not hunger of the soul or spirit, but hunger of the stomach.
Yeah.
And much to my surprise, when I looked around, I found a few poems, but not nearly as many as there should be. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, maybe this is something I can do, rouse poets to write about hunger, um, and then compile them or place them on a website so that anti-hunger organizations can use them in their meetings, in their newsletters, in their in any venues that
Mm-hmm.
that they would organize to speak back to hunger. And so
Excellent.
now we have about 250 poems on there from poets all over the world, both in text form and also in recorded form, where the poet has recorded and we've posted that recording of them reading their poem. We have all of that on the Poetry X Hunger website. It's been gratifying. Poetry will never solve the problem of hunger, but can it help? Oh, yes, I think it can.
Oh, it definitely, I would think, brings awareness to the whole issue. And just the fact that you've got people who can speak to that either through personal experience or, having empathy for it will definitely create that awareness. So I applaud you for doing that. So thank you for taking
Sure,
on that social issue. That's wonderful.
sure. Well, I think we always need the science behind trying and the understanding, the data, the statistics, the trend lines to
Hmm.
understand hunger, but we also need poetry to reach people's hearts about it,
Hmm.
about the issue. So, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for
Oh, you're
asking
welcome.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I guess as an afterthought too, I guess you're probably pretty jazzed about the push for Biden or Biden's push for addressing poverty and hunger specifically for children that
yes.
with the programs that they're putting in place. So I was really happy to see that too, that they're going to do a lot more with that and have more efforts towards solving that problem specifically in the summer when a lot of kids go without food because of their,
They're not in school.
situation.
Right,
Right.
right. And the administration is also putting a limelight on some hunger overseas as an underlying cause, for example, to why folks want to migrate out of their country, escape their
Mhm.
country, and maybe come to ours. And so I think both domestically here in the US
Mhm.
and internationally, just the recognition that hunger is a serious threat
Mhm.
to all of us. Yeah, that's very important. Those moves are very important.
And I like the fact that they're addressing the international part of it because I feel that there's a lack of empathy from some people, specifically with regards to immigration issues. They don't tend to understand what is driving people to come to this country. If they have that understanding, they might change their perspective a little bit and not be quite so harsh on immigration. I don't know,
Well,
but
and
we
if we
hope.
could, sure, and if we could help address some of the root causes
Mhm.
of immigration, then we might reduce it as well. So,
Right.
if people didn't feel like they had to leave, then maybe they wouldn't leave. So, So for
There
all
you
kinds
go.
of reasons, yeah, for all kinds of reasons, I think it's important
Hmm.
that we reach out that way. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So next question is, what is it about writing that was attractive to you, and when did that start for you? When did you start getting this drive to put things to paper for
Yeah, I
everyone to
think
hear?
I was a pretty young sprout when I started writing poems, and I think it's like a lot of us. I think it's we had some aha moments. Mine was when I read poems by others that just uh, amazed me in terms of what these poets were doing with words,
Hmm.
how they could shape words, present words in ways that were totally surprising, unexpected, and amazing to me, wondrous to me. And so it was kind of like, you mean you can do that? I didn't know you could do that. And so, I am still in the process. I think we all are still in the process of learning what our poems will be, but I've enjoyed the journey of learning as I go, and I still hanker back to that element of surprise, both in poems that I enjoy by others as I read them, and then the poems that I try to put together as
Mhm.
well.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear. I like that. So I understand you're retired now. How awesome is that?
It's a gift. It's a
Yes.
gift, really a
So
gift.
how do you fill your days?
Well, actually, I think I'm as busy, if not busier now. And I know people will often say that, and I would say, it's true. It's a different kind of busy. I enjoy very much the kind of programs and the people that I worked with and programs I worked on when I was working. I didn't enjoy the administrivia quite so much, the
Mhm.
bureaucracy, but I really enjoyed the people and the program part of it. But what I enjoy now is being able to pursue things that I absolutely love to do.
Mhm.
And that has taken me down a lot of different paths that I simply had not had a chance, or to be perfectly honest, probably not had as much time to pursue
Mhm.
when I was working. And
Absolutely.
so every morning I wake up, and truly, I say it honestly, it's a gift. It really is to be able to um, wake up and decide, that you want to work on this or that, or you have this opportunity or
Mhm.
that, or wouldn't it be cool to pitch this idea to someone as a possibility? That's just all wonderful as far as I'm concerned. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I imagine that it gives you a much better opportunity to be more creative than you could have before because you were so busy taking care of the day-to-day stuff or job or whatever. I work from home already, so I'm still working per se, but I am working at the things that I love. So for me, it's even a different situation. It's still work, but I am very self-directed, which I like. I did
That's
not
cool.
like that about being in the work world because I always felt I was at somebody else's beck and call, not my own.
Sure.
So, so it's good to
Sure.
be home.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so I think I definitely have asked this question of everybody because I'm really always curious. It took me a while to figure out what was my favorite in poetry, but what is your favorite style? Do you have one or do you like to dabble in everything?
Well, I used to say it was free verse,
Hmm.
but my ear, my heart, my mind increasingly loves maybe not end rhyme,
Okay.
but some rhythm. I mean, I like end rhyme, but what I'm particularly drawn to is some rhythm within a poem that may be a little bit fractured or unexpected. And then for some reason, I'm just really, really interested these days in internal rhyme.
Hmm.
Because I think for me, it kind of amplifies and moves me as a reader along. And
Hmm.
so that's a long-winded answer to your question, but um, free form, but with some milestones along the way that guideposts along the way that,
Okay.
that kind of help steer the reader's ear and
Okay.
hopefully a little bit of their insights as well.
So you think that gives it the flow, or gives it more structure in the flow, is what you're going for?
A little
Okay.
bit more structure than just, words kind of scattered. Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
but one thing I love about poetry is the variety. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've seen the poems written in a spiral, you've seen poems
Mm-hmm.
written upside down, you've seen very structured
Mm-hmm.
Shakespearean sonnet. I mean, you've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
And when you overlay that with the audio now that's available through readings, through online readings, or when we were able to meet in person, when we
Mm-hmm.
are able to meet in person,
Yeah.
hearing the performance aspect of poetry. I
Mm-hmm.
love it all.
Oh, I
But
know.
what speaks to me when I'm sitting down to write is there's something about those internal echoes, literal echoes of sounds and rhymes that
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy. Yeah.
Well, I think it gives nuance to the poem too. It's, and if it is something that you enjoy, then you are really creating your own style, and that people will be able to go and say, "Ooh, that I believe that's a Hiram Larew poem." It's like,
Yeah.
and I always fall back on Billy Collins because he has this very distinctive style too.
Right.
I described that to somebody else recently, that it feels like you're taking a walk with him
Mm,
wherever, and that's how his thoughts really just hit the paper. And I really enjoy that style. I don't write like that
right.
because it's just
Right.
not my style, but
Sure.
I
Sure.
love reading it. I just think it's really
Absolutely.
wonderful.
One of the things that I really respect these days and times, and it's always been true of poets, but especially the days and times we're living through, are
Hmm.
those poets who are socially engaged and focused and speaking up and speaking back. I think that's incredibly important.
Hmm.
I come from a very privileged background, and so I'm not sure that I have all the insights. I know I don't have all the insights that I would need to write in that vein. Plus, the fact I just don't think I'm a particularly good writer of the moment.
Hmm.
But that, just as you were saying, I nonetheless respect
Hmm.
that kind of work that's being offered now. It's just so important for poets to speak up. The poetry of hunger is about as close as I get to that realm.
Well, I applaud you for doing that, because I think the more information you put out there, number one, I don't care what form it's in, information is like, it's knowledge, and knowledge is power. So power gives you the ability to do things,
Yes,
solve
right,
problems and move forward. So
right.
good on you for doing that. Okay, so oh no, let me go back to this previous question. I forgot. I just glossed right over. So we talked about you. I congratulated you on your pushcart nominations, 4 of them. That is amazing. May I ask which pieces, or which
Oh
piece?
gosh, I'm not sure if I can even remember, Susie. The kind of the most important, well, two things on that front. I actually met somebody the other day on Zoom who won a pushcart prize for
Nice.
poetry. Yeah, it's really amazing. You often hear of folks who have been nominated. It's wonderful, but it's pretty rare that I actually hear or encounter somebody who's won the pushcart
Hmm.
prize. The other thing on my screen that I'm kind of focused on right now is I've just had my next manuscript. I'm working with a publisher on getting it hopefully ready to go. I'm sure there's going to be some more work done on it, but so that's kind of exciting to bundle up some work. A lot of it written during the pandemic, not so much about the pandemic, maybe in reaction to the pandemic, but also some poems that I'd written a while back. But to
Hmm.
bundle all those up and offer them out is, as you know, you kind of go, okay, big gulp. Will it fly? Will this baby go? But that's kind of exciting. Yeah,
Well, I would be interested in knowing which, or the pieces that were nominated, for me to read. If you want to send me a link or something, that would
sure,
be awesome. I
sure,
would really appreciate that.
sure.
Um, what are some of the things on the horizon that you're looking forward to? What you got in
Well,
the works?
yeah. I was lucky enough. about 2 years ago to get a writer residency, an in-person writer residency at
Mm,
a historic plantation in Northern Virginia, in
wow.
Fairfax, Virginia, on property that was at one time owned by George Washington. And when I went to write there, I fairly quickly realized that I needed to invite some African American poet friends to come if they were brave enough to do so, and write about what they've sensed, felt um, about the 90 slaves who served the 9 whites who lived in the house.
Hmm.
And so they did. The poets came for a day. We wrote. And as a result of that, we now have a program called Voices of Woodlawn
Hmm.
that tries to kind of reckon with the history of our country and the history of slavery in our country. Not only the history, but what that history, the legacy of that history into today has
Hmm.
been. And we do that through poems. One of the poets is also a visual artist, so she has put together some visual artwork as a result of the visit. And we have a harmonicist who also combined some of his amazing work. And so we have a program called
Hmm.
Voices of Woodlawn that we've been offering. And so that's been something that I've, been really interested in trying to promote because I think it's a very timely
Hmm.
program.
Absolutely.
And it's getting some airtime. Even the staff at, I shouldn't say even, the staff at Woodlawn at the plantation was kind enough and open-hearted enough to host our reading. And as a result, the messaging about it and the availability of the program got a pretty broad uh, broadcast, pretty broad notice. Um, so that's one thing. And then Poetry of Hunger, to come back to that for just a second, we are currently pulling together an e-collection of some of the poems, a few of the poems that appear on the website. It's kind of an easy go-to manual
Yeah.
for teachers, professors, anti-hunger leaders, anyone who might be interested, something that they can go to with pretty easy access, all free of charge online. Um, and we hope to issue that probably in the next couple of months. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
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 do keep me apprised of that too. I
I
guess you're
will.
going to post about it on your
Oh, yeah,
blog too. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, we
Excellent.
certainly, yeah.
That's, well, it sounds like you've got a lot going on, which is great.
It's been fun, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. I'm going to mix it up a little bit from the last couple of interviews that I've had. I wanted to try something different. I've got a couple or three rapid fire questions for you.
Sure.
Cat or dog?
Cat,
Cats. Rain or sunshine?
mm, rain right after sunshine.
Okay.
Split the difference.
People or pets?
I think people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. That
yeah,
was pretty easy, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All
I like it.
right.
I like it.
I wanted to do something different because this
Sure.
is, you are now, I believe, the seventh interview, eighth interview. Don't remember now. I did quite a few of them last week. And
Uh-huh.
I tried to get a lot of people in last week because I'm going for my second COVID shot tomorrow. So,
Oh yeah, I just had mine and got along just fine. Well, I had a little day out lag, but other than
mhm.
that, it was not a problem. Yeah.
Well, my son got the same one and he just had his last week and he said he had 2 days of fever and achy and all that. And I said, well, I really don't want to go through that when I'm interviewing poets. So
Well, yeah.
that's why I lined them all up pretty much mostly last week and I've got 3 or 4 more to go.
And tell me, how do you plan to use the recordings? Will you use them in promoting the anthology or?
Absolutely. I would, number one, I wanted to get people, um, I wanted to get you guys in front of an audience and let them see who the writers are and the poets that are in the anthology, but also to help promote the book too,
Sure.
just so that people know what this book is about and, why it really came into being. So one of those things is that I wanted you to read one of your poems. So which one did you decide you wanted to read?
Well, honestly, I don't have either of them called up. Can we take just a second break and
Mhm.
I will pull it up
Well,
here?
go
Sorry,
for it. In the
sorry
meantime,
about that. I
no, that's fine. We can
didn't
chit
come
chat
very
in the meantime, and
sure. Um,
people get to look at your lovely plant in the background.
right, right. Let's see, where is it here?
I'll take another sip of water. Try not to be too noisy.
Can you tell me do you by chance have the titles there with you, Susie?
I will find them
If
quickly.
you
I hope.
do, that would be especially helpful because
Absolutely.
I try to keep track of my children poems, but it's hard to do sometimes.
That's okay. Oh, there's the anthology. Okay.
Hopefully
Hiram.
you can hopefully edit
Oh, I'm
this.
sorry. For as much. That's the one.
Okay, let me see here. I think I'll have to go.
And I was going to say, you could just pull it right up on my blog, iwriter.com.
Okay, I'm almost there here.
Okay.
So let's see. Just take a minute for it to call up. And I really appreciate the opportunity to have a piece included in this fine collection. I think you've got folks from literally all over who
Yep.
are
It is
included, right?
a global initiative.
That's great.
Yep. I'm excited. I like the fact that, well, you know that I love the specialty of micro poetry and writing. I just think um, I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time because this is what I've got on the blog, but I enjoy the sweet, voluminous kind of depth of expression that I think micro poetry can offer. And somebody who can do it well, then it just makes the reading so much sweeter. So,
Well, haikus have always been attractive to so many of us. And as you say, maybe just a slightly blown up version of them in kind
mhm.
of the micro mode. They can include so much. Emily Dickinson, I always go back to as being able to power pack into each word and dash, so much. So I think I think you're onto something there where you kind of showcase the a little bit shorter pieces. You maybe
Mhm.
can't tell the full story from decades long story, but you can
Right.
certainly convey an awful lot.
Yeah, and it's the evocation or evoking those emotions. I love people who can do that with just such brevity. So,
Brevity. Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Well,
But go ahead.
this piece is titled For As Much. And I believe I sometimes tinker with pieces after they've been published or after I've submitted them, but I believe this is pretty much the version that occurs in the short of it. For as much, what to notice really is the almost did. What's intended, what's perhaps, its feathers spread. So, yes to that should have been, how ruffles lift the wind, where just about to is the spring, or is that wink that skips from why to when, right up to where trouble's almost been. I recently moved,
Mhm.
Susie, to a place where it's a little bit more rural than I had been living in before, and I'm just gaga over over some of the sounds and sights of where I'm living now. And I believe in this piece, some of that awe or
Mm-hmm.
giddiness
Nature.
about nature is, I try to convey. I'm not sure if it's successful or not, but that,
I think you did. I got it.
yeah, well, thank you. Thank you.
No, I get
I
it.
had to read sideways here, but that's the way they kind of lined up.
I live out in the country as well, and I love it. We
Hmm.
live in a very small town in Kansas, and I just look out of my back window, and I get to see so much nature and
Yeah,
animals, and just the
yeah.
wind too. Messing with
Oh,
my whispering willow, who I've named Steve. He's just he I
I
love to
love it.
see his motion. It's very enchanting and entrancing as well. So I
Yeah.
do enjoy it.
And I
Well,
think these days and times, the balm of nature, the
mhm,
BALM, not BOMB, the balm
right,
of nature, has just been
right.
so important to us.
Oh, absolutely. It's soothing because with, especially like you just said, with what's going on with COVID, that's like our last thing that we can hold on to because we've been
Yeah.
so restricted in other ways. Going out in my backyard, I can do as much as I want and I can
Right,
still connect with nature. And
right,
that
right.
keeps me somewhat sane, I want to say.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but but I want to thank you so much. Number one, for submitting. Number two, for writing such beautiful pieces and being here.
Well,
Spending the
thank you.
time with me is amazing. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know everybody.
It's an honor, Susie. And again, I thank you on behalf of all of us for
Oh,
doing what you've done, leading this effort and producing the anthology. That's
well,
great.
I hope that you guys get a lot of recognition out of this and hopefully this will, help your resumes and wherever you want to go. I'm glad and happy to be a conduit for it.
And I hope we can stay in touch.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if not by email, maybe do Zoom again, or I'd love to
Oh,
maybe have
sure,
a group or something. I've
sure.
kind of, Lisa Toomey has been a great inspiration to me. She's also one of the poets from the anthology. And some of the things that she's done, I would have never thought to do, like the poet interviews. So she kind of inspired me to do this as well.
I'm sorry, this is Lisa.
Lisa Toomey,
Oh, okay, sure, sure.
she's the prolific
Yes.
potpourri. Or
Yeah,
no, it's
yeah.
prolific pulse. My apologies. I'm getting my people mixed up because we have
Right, right,
another
right.
person who has the prolific potpourri too, Matt Schneider. So, but I again thank you for taking the time to speak with
Thank
me and
you.
visit, and it's really great to get to know you.
Great. Well, thank you. And let me know if there's anything else you need from me and when this might air. And I'll be interested in others for other interviews that you've had too.
I've got four more. My goal is to start putting them up this week. So the
Oh,
things that
okay.
I did last week will hopefully be airing this
Okay.
week. Yeah,
Great.
this week. And then you guys will probably be
The
this week's
following.
interviews will be the following week.
Okay.
It just depends on how good my editing skills are. I've never done it before.
No, I haven't either. Yeah, yeah. Well, good luck with that. And good luck with your second vaccine too. I'm sure it'll go fine.
Oh, thank you. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that
Yeah.
I'm not too bad.
Yeah,
All
I'm sure it'll
right.
be good.
Thanks,
Okay.
Hiram. I
Take
appreciate your
care. Good
time.
to meet you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.